Okay, this time I've got her with the trade rule all. If you don't have it and you do want it, remember just to quit at this screen and keep playing her until it does change to all. So then the winner takes all of the cards. And let's once again try and lose. We need some lower stat cards than even what we were using then, I think. So let's head to page 1. Gizzard. Yeah, you're a pretty bad card. So we won't be playing any Chocobo card this game, I shouldn't have thought. Oh no. We just lost. And we'll continue to try and lose this game. Interestingly, we can play this. And we lose. Right. Okay, so we also need to send this person to Dolit. Which means I need to do this again, because she wants to go to Galbadia. Okay, so we're going to go to the Queen of Cards and lose the Chocobo card to her. So this is all part of her side quest. If you don't have the Chocobo card, then head back a couple of episodes to do the what do you call it? The Chocobo Forest side quest. Quite a lengthy side quest, but somewhat important. And I'll go through the whole of that for you. And the Chocobo card is a reward that's given at the end. So you should have the Queen of Cards here in Balam if you've been following my walkthrough. And we're going to challenge her and refuse. Because we want to try and get that all trade rule. Since that will guarantee that she at least takes the Chocobo card, which is what we wanted to do. Once you've got the all rule, it's just a case of playing your Chocobo card along with a bunch of nonsense that will hopefully help you lose. Her cards are terrible, by the way, so losing can sometimes actually be a bit of a challenge in and of itself. But I'm sure we'll get by and manage. At least that's the plan. We need to lose another card here. No, we don't. We should be okay. There we go. We've lost. So there goes Mr. Chocobo. And we now need to send the Queen to Dolit. So if she doesn't go to Dolit, you're going to have to try again. There we go. She's off to Dolit, which is exactly what we wanted. You can actually boost the RNG, I believe, by just refusing to play with her the first time and then the second time playing with her as normal. And that's it really for the Queen of Cards. That's all we need to do. If you haven't already, head back to Shumi Village and make sure you grab Ultima with your magic caster, since the draw point should have been brought back now. If you didn't do it at the end of the last episode anyway. And what else is there to teach you before we move on to the next section of the story? I think that's about it. So we're going to be heading over to Trabia Garden, which is in the northeastern part of the Trabia continent. So make sure you use your map and I'll show you where it is. One other thing I want us to do before we move on is if you head over to the Dolit area and then go to the pub where we've sent the Queen of Cards, don't speak to her at all, but instead you need to put move find on the character that has it. In my case it's Selfie. There it is. And that will give you access to this save point. And you want to save your game on a separate file. So I'm just going to go for block 2 here. And the reason being, this is actually going to help us to manipulate the card rules as a lot easier now as we move on with the game, as we reach certain regions and whatnot. And the reason that is we can actually soft reset the game with Control R. You have to hold it down for a second for it to work. And you can manipulate the RNG by loading up this save file, heading over here, and then examining this magazine stack. I know this sounds strange, but however many times I tell you to examine it when we are abolishing rules in a particular region, and then you can soft reset and load up your whatever save game it is you're playing with at the time, and that should actually manipulate the rules in order to abolish rules into our favour. So make sure this is a good opportunity to do it. You head over to Dollet now, even if what I'm saying doesn't make sense. Just come, if you're doing the cards, the card game, triple triad, then come to Dollet now, get Move Find on, and save onto a separate file. And then it will all hopefully make sense later on. Okay, so back to the main walkthrough now, and I've got 66 Ultima Magics, having visited Shumi Village once more to grab some from the draw point. So I do recommend that you do stay on top of that, because it's one of the best ways to actually get Ultima Magics. It's hard to come by, and as you can see, we're stocking up nicely. It won't be long before we've already maxed out one character. If you are starting to get close to maxing out a character, remember 15 is the most you can get from a draw point. So if you get to 85, transfer them to one of your other characters so that you don't miss out on any by not being able to draw the maximum. But here we are at the outskirts of Trabia Garden, which is our next destination. So you can pretty much bring your own garden right next door, and when you're ready, we're going to head on inside here. So when we first come in, there's going to be a bit of a scene. Self is concerned because things aren't looking too well. Not too promising. And Self is going to lead the way here by climbing up this netting. We are going to follow, of course. And we'll see what kind of devastation faces us. Okay, so we're going to head towards Selfie, see what she's up to and what's going down in the actual garden itself. I'm not going to draw just yet because Selfie has the magic stat that we need. Make sure you select play along there. Once we've got control of score, we can actually get a weapons monthly issue of August, but we need to do something quite precise. We're going to stand directly in front of the draw point here, like that, and then we're going to walk south 5 steps. 1, so I'll try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't actually exit the screen, of course. There it is. If you just run, then you end up quitting the screen before you can even see that thing. So just make sure you use the walk command. And we can run around. There's a couple of other bits we can do. Next we're going to head right here out towards the exit and into a graveyard style area. And you can see another magazine kind of hiding out the back here. This is an issue of Timber Maniacs. Now if we go back to the previous screen, You can chat to some of these folks if you want to. Although you don't have to do this just yet. We can head across to the left here. And there's more people we can speak to. Looks like somebody else has been trying to farm that Guardian Force that we collected. There's something I just want to try and check before we actually move across to the next screen. If you just head to the east actually and then come back, you do get a bit of a scene with Selfie here. And the kids. Okay, we can just speak to the girl and she'll run off there. Same with the boy. We can actually head across to the west here. And then we'll get another scene. And here she comes. Playing football with the basketball by the looks of things. Okay, so some exposition there, and we've learned that some of our characters have all interacted with each other previously by being in the same orphanage, but had sadly forgotten one another. And now we get to control Squall in this kind of ghost form, and we're just going to start by heading through the door up here. And we're going to speak to this boy, who we've seen previously. And once he's gone, we're going to head down these stone steps here, which can be difficult to see, but they are there. And it looks like our party is waiting for us in this exposition land. Not going to take many guesses to figure out who this one is. It's Cypher, of course, who was also with them. So how strange that all these guys were orphans together. Okay, so back in control of Squall here, we're just going to speak to these guys individually. And it will make them disappear one by one. And then we're going to leave this room here and we'll get, of course, another scene. Okay, so once you've got control of Squall once again here on the beach, you need to speak to Irvine first. This is how we proceed with the story. Okay, now we need to go ahead and speak to Quistis. Okay, so it seems lore-wise, junctioning actually takes place within the head or something. Not really thought about that before. Okay, now we're going to speak to Selfie, finally. Okay, so now we get some more exposition on another character known as, right now, as the Matron. Although also seemingly somewhat familiar to our party here. So Matron is the sorceress who we tried to assassinate. Or Sid's wife, as we've later found out. And we're just reaching the end of this lengthy exposition. But it has been somewhat important. We've learned quite a few things here. Not only about the antagonist, but also about ourselves, about our own party. It's probably just called snow, to be honest. Okay, so to continue on at this point, we just need to head over to Renoa here. And there we have it, we now have to form a party. I recommend you put Zell in, since there's a love scene you can get for visiting the library with him. And we'll put Renoa in also, I think. Although, of course, you can have Selfie if you want to have her as your magic character. It doesn't really matter. And you'll automatically find your way back to the garden. But don't leave Trabia just yet. First of all, head to the library if you're doing the love quest with Zell in your party. Once you're done with Zell's quest, head back into the garden itself, Trabia Garden, because there's a new card we can win. And if you just head up into the northern section where we were previously, the NPC we're looking for is the friend that Selfie was speaking to earlier on. But I'm just going to grab the Thunder Guard draw point. Now we have a magical character back in the party. Oh, we only get 6 anyway in this case. And it's this person here we want to talk to. I'm not going to mix rules. But basically we're going to be collecting the Selfie card. So win that. That's your goal. And then I'll tell you what to do next. Okay, so I should be able to win the Selfie card here quite nicely. At least that's the plan. Perfect. And what you want to do now is actually mod the card itself that we just won, the Selfie card. So if we go to card mod, because that turns the card into 3 LM guards, or elemental guards if you like, which in turn will mod into the elemental defense ×4 ability, allowing us to have each character in our party equipped with a 4th elemental defense slot. So what I would recommend is teaching it to 1 GF from each of your endgame GF setups. So I'm going to teach it to the following GFs. Well, I'm actually only going to teach it to 1 GF because only the magical character is going to need to learn it. The other 2 will get Guardian Forces that learn it naturally anyway. So you can either do it on Shiva, on a Siren, Quetzalcoatl or Ifrit if you're going for my setup. Doesn't really matter which, I'll just go for Siren here. So I'm going to unlearn one of these abilities. Doesn't really matter which, just go for Guardian Force I think. And then if we go to the items that we just learned or modded, Elemental Guard, we'll give that to Siren there. And then whoever's got Siren, which in my case is Renoa, then she'll be able to have an extra slot for Elemental Defense. And as I say, if you use my Guardian Force setups, the other characters will get Guardian Forces that learn it naturally anyway. But it now means that Renoa has that 4th slot, which is particularly useful. And you might want to go and check out Shumi Village once more. There might be another set of Ultimas to draw from there. But I'm going to leave it there now for today. So we've got some nice stuff done, some good exposition and dialogue out of the way. And we've got a pretty exciting episode coming up next time, so please do come back and join me for that. But until then, guys, if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'll see you next time as we continue on with the game. Bye for now, guys. Take care.